Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday to you all. Let me make sure I'm able to see the comments for Facebook. Well, happy Tuesday. I am Ms. Empower. I just want to welcome you to a place for healthy conversations. And tonight we're going to dive into a discussion on, we have a few topics, guys, tonight. But this is our Let's Talk About It Tuesday for those of you that are new to Empowering Success with Kim. I am Ms. Empower. And so every Tuesday we log on and we talk about something that's important, something that is, some type of topic that most of us are facing in our communities. And so we dive in. Feel free to make comments. If you would like to come on screen, you're welcome to do that, but you have to let me know in the comments that you want to do that. You have to send me your email, and then I'll send the link to you. I like to start out with the Serenity Prayer, because so many of us are going through so much, and this prayer just kind of helps you understand that, you just focus on the things that you can control, and those things that you can't control, it's okay. It's going to be all right. Just continue praying about it. Let me see. I think I have to type it in. So it says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this simple world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. So, it's extremely important that we realize that a lot of times we go through things that we may have control over, and then we go through things that we may not have control over. So, it's important for you not to get so discouraged to the point that you just lose who you are in the process, and you stop thinking in a positive manner. You get in the negative manner, and all your thoughts are negative concerning that situation because you can't see yourself getting out. I'm here to encourage somebody today. Let me just make sure that I don't have any comments from my Facebook. I don't like how my iPad is acting tonight. I might have to switch over to my phone. Okay, so tonight I wanted to kind of focus in on insecurities. I want to focus on barriers in a relationship. I want to focus on distractions. So, how many of you have ever entered into a relationship wounded? Where you were wounded? Hey, Rail, thanks for joining me tonight. I'm not seeing anybody on the YouTube side as far as names. But hello to everybody on YouTube and Facebook. So I was just asking, has anyone ever entered a relationship wounded? And when I say wounded, like you really have been through something before you entered that relationship. If you think back and you look back, because you know in hindsight is 2020, right? If you look back, can you remember a time that you entered a relationship knowing full well that that probably wasn't the best idea because you were not healed or you had not learned how to cope with what you had just come out of? Because we do that often. We jump from one relationship to the next relationship. Hey, okay, Real, you're on YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you. Hey, Ashley, thanks for joining me. Hey, Tawana. So a lot of times you jump from one relationship to the next, hoping that, okay, that didn't work. Let's try over here. Okay, so Real says, I have entered wounded bad decisions. Absolutely, because that's what I was going to say. What happens is we make decisions that are not the best decisions for us because we are not thinking in the right frame of mind. Like we are wounded. We're not whole. And so when you do that, you get into this relationship and it doesn't matter what gender that you are. We're not just talking about women. We're not just talking about men. We're talking about all of us. We jump into these relationships knowing that we're not whole. And then you rub off on your partner who may have been in a good place and put them through some things that are not necessary. So this is why I recommend when you break up with someone that you take the time to just think about what happened in this relationship. Does that mean you say, oh, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did that? You have to think about what you did as well. Did you allow them to do that to you? What was your part? Because we play a part. We may not have been the cause, but you have to think about what you did so that you can work on that and be better. Because the next time that the opportunity presents for you to meet that person, and you want to start talking to somebody, you want to start dating, you want to make sure that you're not wounded. Does it mean that you're never going to think about the things that you've been through in your past? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you get the help that you need to get the tools that you need to cope with what you've just been through. Let me look at your comments. Hey, Teresa, thanks for joining. So, Ashley, you said not until after I was in a relationship. Is that when you realized that you were wounded? So, hey, Keita, thanks for joining, girl. Keita says, it's always about self-evaluation. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to. Hey, Felicia, thanks for joining me tonight. You have to self-evaluate because we lose ourselves and we don't love on ourselves. We have to think about self-development. We have to think about in that self-love because so often, so many people get into relationships with people and sometimes they see that that person has been through something and they want to love all of that hurt out of them. But that's the problem. You think you can fix that, but you can't fix anybody. And I wouldn't even I'm sorry, y'all. These retainers got me today. I wouldn't even suggest that, because you trying to fix your partner. You can't fix your partner because you're too close. Then you need someone who's on the outside, who is not so close to it, and they can get in and, be more of a help than the person that is their partner. Now, you can be supportive, but you can't fix somebody. So I just want to tell somebody that today. The next time that you are out here ready to date and you've opened yourself up for dating, for something serious, make sure that you are paying close attention to what people say and their actions and how they speak about others and the things that they say to other people. Like, okay, so this person may be a dishonest person, but as far as you know, they haven't been dishonest with you, but you hear them on the phone or talking to someone else and you hear them lying to them. That's just who they are. Period. So we have to be very careful and mindful. Make sure you're paying close attention. And back to what I was saying, don't try to fix somebody. You can't fix someone. Know what you're getting into. All right. So for those of you that joined a little later after I said what we were going to talk about, we're going to talk about insecurities tonight. We're going to talk about barriers in a relationship. We're going to talk about distractions. So I think I'm going to jump into barriers in a relationship. So one is fear of rejection. That's a barrier in a relationship. So when you are dealing with that, you fear going to your partner to talk to them about whatever it is you feel like you want to talk about, because you feel like they're going to reject what you're saying. That's a barrier. Because you're fearing that is like, there's a big wall right here that is keeping you from getting to your partner and getting that communication to them, for them to know what you're feeling. And so what does that do to a relationship when you cannot communicate? It breaks it down. It's like your relationship is not going to be successful if it continues in that way. So when we start talking about barriers keep a relationship from going forth and being the best that it can be. It is something that is in the way and keeping you from being able to say, I'm celebrating 50 years with my partner. That barrier is in your way. It's keeping you from communicating. It's keeping you from hearing your partner. It's keeping you from getting close as a couple, because that wall is in the way. And please feel free to comment as I am talking, guys. This is Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I want discussion. I want to see more discussion on Let's Talk About It Tuesday, as we used to have. So it's not me saying that I have all the answers. It's me saying this is a topic that's important for us to talk about it. Let's talk about it. What do you think? What are your thoughts? And let's jump in. You're welcome to comment. You're welcome to inbox if maybe you don't feel comfortable putting your comment out there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to open up my messenger on Facebook. You also can come on screen. You'll have to send your email to mzempower@gmail.com. I have too many emails, y'all. So it's MZZ as in zebra, EMPOWER@gmail.com. And I apologize because I normally put that. I'm gonna add it onto the banner real quick. Are they gonna make me create another one? Okay. And it'll be across the screen for whoever decides that's what they want to do. Save. Okay. So there you guys go. Actually, I do need to open up my email just in case. So if you decide you want to come on, just put in the comments, I want to come on, and that way I'll go ahead and look at my email. Okay. So, did I miss your comment, Rail? Because you said we can't fix people. No, we cannot fix people at all. So we were talking about the barriers in a relationship. So, like I said, the first one is the fear of rejection. The next one is avoiding change. Avoiding change. So you are fearful that whatever it is between you guys is going to change. And so that's a brick wall keeping you from getting that type of close. Because so many of us, we don't like change. We want everything to stay the same. So because we don't want change, we don't even open ourselves up to the communication with our partner because we don't want to hear it. Because that's a big problem in relationships as it is listening. Like, you can listen enough to let them say what they have to say, but you really didn't hear what they were saying. Because I was so, oh my God, I was so guilty of that in my 20s when I first married. I didn't know. It was so many things that I didn't know, and it's so funny to this day. Because now we can look back and we can actually talk about things. You know, we're mature enough to say, you know what, when I did such and such, I apologize for that because that was wrong. You know, you can go back, you can admit something that you did or you said that was wrong, but in the moment you thought you were right. So yeah, avoiding change happens when you don't want to hear what that partner has to say. You don't want to hear what is going to change between you all because you don't want. Okay, so when we start talking about change, the partner probably feels like something within your relationship has to change for them to be happy, you know. And if the other partner is fine with it, they're not willing to hear it or compromise about it. So that's a barrier. The next one is feeling low self-worth. That's why I say be careful when you are dating. Pay attention to everything that you hear from this person and pay attention to body language. So Keita says, in order to grow, you have to change. Absolutely. Change is a part of growth. And I definitely agree with that, because if you can't grow, you can't mature, and you're just going to stay the same. So imagine a couple that married in their early 20s, and everything about them is the same in this relationship. Somebody's going to outgrow somebody. And when that person changes, you got to either change with them. And a lot of times, sometimes people, I did that wrong, guys. The email. Sorry about that. Let me fix it. A lot of times, people are unwilling to stay and deal with it in that, when that person changes. It's too much for them because they want them to be the same person that they were. It's a benefit normally for that person. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. All these lights are in my face. And I'm trying to make sure I got that right. Okay. So yes, as Keita said, yes, that's a part of growth. You have to be able to grow. together, because there's so much to do in your growth. I just think that people who marry and then divorce because it just didn't work out or whatever the reason was, and then later down the road, years later, you can actually talk about the different things that you remember saying and doing that was wrong, because you have matured. So you can actually come back and apologize, to where at that point you didn't see what you had done wrong and you couldn't apologize. So yes, growth is needed in any type of relationship. It's needed on your job. If I was the same woman that I was when I started my job. I was 29. No, I was about to turn 29, so I was 28. If I was that same young lady right now today, I wouldn't have gotten far at all. Period. Because at some point you have to change, you have to grow, you have to mature. So that's a barrier. So many people don't want that. They don't want that. Okay. So I was saying feeling low self-worth, and I'm sorry I had missed your comment. There are people that enter a relationship and they do have low self-worth. And because they have that low self-worth, that keeps them from being the best they can be in their relationship to their partner. And if we have two people in a relationship who are that way, they're not going to see anything wrong with that. But at the same time, they're going to struggle in that relationship. When you have low self-worth, you don't believe in yourself. So if you don't believe in you, how can you believe in your partner? And I believe in a partnership, you need both people to have a partnership, to have a happy, successful partnership, mature partnership. So many things come with people having low self-worth. So many things. And I want to actually have one segment where we're talking about that, because that right there is that spreads into every part of your life when you have self-worth, because you'll accept anything when you have low self-worth. What do you guys think? When you have low self-worth, what do you think happens? Because you don't, like I said, you don't believe in yourself. So you can't believe in your partner because you don't believe in yourself. But then maybe you believe in your partner more than you believe in yourself. You put more into your partner than yourself. And so you allow your partner to mistreat you because you have low self-worth. It's like you don't care about you. You care more about them than you do yourself. Oh my God, Felicia. Yes. Even in friendships, you can grow apart. Absolutely. And if we talk about that, that goes back to the barrier of fear of rejection. That goes back to avoiding change, because sometimes when you change in a relationship and you want a different type of relationship, but your partner, your friend doesn't see that, or want that, or they haven't gotten there yet, then it causes problems in your friendship. And then you do grow apart. If you don't take the time to have communication, that's a barrier. Not having that communication. Not feeling like you can go and talk to your friend about what you're feeling. And I think in any friendship. And let me tell y'all something about Miss Felicia here on YouTube. I'm sorry, you guys can't see her on Facebook, but on YouTube. She was my first friend that I had that she came with unconditional love. Like, I had a friendship without conditions. I could just be myself. I could just have a friendship. No judgment, no conditions at all. Just be me. And I thank her all the time for that, because I appreciate that. Because when I met her, and as we continue to grow, because we met in the church, as we continue to grow and get to know each other, we were very respectful of one another. And we didn't have to talk every day, but we would send a text and be like, good morning, sis, you know, or sometimes we didn't. Sometimes there might have been something going on in our lives, you know, and I'm like, hey, didn't get a text from my sis the last couple of weeks. Let me reach out, see how she doing. Because as parents, as wives, you know, you are busy sometimes, you know, sometimes you don't have the time. So yeah, I learned a lot from her, which made me want to have that in all my friendships. And so I have tried it in all my friendships by being it. So I'm not perfect, and I'm still growing and trying to be better with all my friendships, because every person that I am friends with, I love so much. Like, don't mess with them, because I'm coming. And they all know that about me. So let me see. I don't have anything over here on Facebook. Okay. Well, go ahead and cry, sis, but it's real. So if you saw that picture in my story last week, okay, so let's move on to the next one. Sometimes the barrier is that you want different things. Sometimes you do. You want different things. That is a big barrier, because how can you actually be together when you don't want the same things? So you get into this relationship with this person, but they are in it just because they just want to have somebody, a partner to sleep with. But this other partner over here wants something more. They want marriage. You know, they want commitment. This person doesn't want monogamy. So how do you handle that? That's a barrier. That's not going to work out. Anybody have anything to say about that? So I'm going to move to the next one. I'll come back at somebody. So your view sometimes is skewed, and I'm going to tell you why. A lot of times it's from how you grew up, what you saw in your surroundings. How were the relationships around you? Did you see abuse in those relationships? So do you think you're supposed to abuse your partner? Do you think you're supposed to cuss your partner? You know, that's a barrier. And that keeps you from having a healthy relationship, because we talk about having healthy relationships all the time, because that's important. Any type of relationship, whether it's business relationship, romantic relationship, a regular friendship, whether it's the relationship with your kids, you know, relationship with your parents, relationship with your siblings, just cousins, whoever, whatever those relationships are with, you need healthy relationships, you know. And I'm at that point in my life where I am really paying attention to how people treat me. You know, whether they're with me or without me, when they're with other people, if my name is coming up in conversations that it has no business coming up, I'm paying attention to these things, and I'm not tolerating it, and I'm not dealing with it, period. I surround myself with love, people who actually love on me, and know how to treat me. Because I know how to love on you, and I know how to treat you. So I'm going to receive the same. It's no more of, I'm going to do that, but people won't do that for me. Well, I just don't need to be friends with those type of people. Angela says she can't log in. Hold on, Keita. I see your comment. I'm getting ready to read it. 1 second. Angela, are you on Facebook or YouTube? Try Facebook, and I'll have to check out YouTube next week when I set up. I've been kind of setting them up together, and maybe I should do it individually. Okay, so Keita says, move forward without them. Don't sell yourself short, because the Lord may be have something better in store for you. So I definitely agree with that. But when we talk about friendships, I work really hard not to, especially if I understand why you could be the way that you are. I'm very understanding. But sometimes it's hard just to, especially if you've had a friendship for a certain amount of years. Okay, I see you, Angela. Then it is hard to walk away from, because like I said, being such a loving person, I pay attention to people more now. Like, I used to be so selfish, guys, but I'm like a totally different person now. So when I say I love hard. So, and I listen and I try to work through things, but if you are being deceitful and just doing so many negative things towards me, then that's different. That's different. That I won't tolerate. So yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Talking about relationships, absolutely. If we're talking about romantic relationships, yeah, you should move on, because you should not allow yourself to be in that type of relationship, because that means that you're on different pages, and you might not be in the best place. If you married this person, I talk about counseling, and I think counseling is a great thing to try. And I mean, at least that you exhausted everything. But if you find yourself in an abusive situation, don't stay in anything like that. I don't care if it's emotional abuse. That's not a good thing to be in. I was in a relationship where there was emotional abuse. I just did a 5-part series of Let's Talk About Manipulation, and it's on my YouTube page. Check it out. Breaking it down with the definition, the stages, the signs, the tactics, just anything you can think of about manipulation, or in that 5-part series. Check it out. I don't think that anybody should stay in an emotionally abusive relationship. I don't care how long you've been with them. I don't care. You just should not do it, because you're tearing yourself down, and you're allowing somebody else to tear you down at the same time. So we have to love ourselves enough to say, this is not working for me. Okay, guys. So the last one for the barriers that I have listed, and you can list something if you think you want to add. Past relationships. Sometimes you were in a past relationship and when they did a certain thing, that meant they were about to do this. It's almost like whatever it was you went through in that past relationship, you bleed onto this partner of yours, thinking that it's going to happen again. It's like having PTSD. So that becomes a barrier. And that keeps you guys from moving forward. And you really have to take the time to work on you before moving forward into a relationship. Because it's protecting you and it's protecting them. It's giving you the opportunity to work on you and move into this new relationship later on down the road, clear and free. Just think about if somebody gave you some money clear and free. You're moving into this relationship clear and free, period. You don't owe nobody nothing. You're not thinking about whatever has happened in your past. And if you're looking back, you're just looking back to see how far you've come. But you're not allowing that relationship to control what's in your future. Because that is where relationships don't make it. Because that's what's happening. And that other partner, it gets to be too much. So we're going to jump into overcoming barriers. So one thing that I suggest, because we have social media, we have all these electronic devices, we have all these different ways of communicating with people, text, Facebook, inbox, just DM, or whatever you all want to call it. But you should talk face to face. You always want to talk face to face, in person. Have conversations to overcome these barriers that are in your way. If you're really looking to work through whatever it is that you're going through, to break these barriers, you're going to have to be able to talk. And it should be, and it's recommended to be face to face. Keita said, I think all couples should get counseling. Trying to get men to agree is the problem. But that's the thing, Keita. I remember in the past, yes, that it was like it was taboo for them. Counseling was, if you brought that up, no, I'm not doing it. But I'm hearing so many men talk about how good counseling is. Once they got in, they saw the perks of counseling, what they could get from it. I'm sorry, I'm looking down at this tablet. I got too much going on. So, face to face is what's needed. One thing about it is, because you don't want to text, you don't want to DM, because it may be taken in the wrong manner. You know, you may have been really calm in this text, but they are in a bad mood, or they are angry, or whatever, and they're reading it in that capacity. You know what I'm saying? They're reading it as it coming over as angry. So face to face is the way to talk. You want to talk to your partner, sit down and talk with them face to face. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, I did. So Felicia said, with friendships, what was cool, fun, may have changed. It may be not, hold on, it may have changed. It may not give what it used to. If the friend may have matured or changed. Example, going to the club every weekend. That could end a friendship. Absolutely, because especially when a person has grown out of that part of life. You know, now they are more responsible. They are thinking of other things that they want to do. And so I get it. Not wanting to be in the club. Because at some point, I definitely outgrew that. You know, I want to say, raising kids. You know, I didn't have time to be going to no club. You know, I did find other things that I could do maybe once a month. You know, but I just didn't have time for that. And I think I think my husband and I used to go to the club together, like on, you know, it might be like New Year's or something like that, or maybe we decided to meet up with some friends. But no, I was not out in no club, and neither was he. So, you know, you definitely have to look at that. People do mature and they change because life changes. Okay, so the second one is find the right time. The time that might be right for you might not be right for your partner. And so you all need to compromise on the right time and sit down and talk. For you might want to talk about it right now. Your partner may need a day or two. So you guys have to talk about how you're going to handle that. Be honest with each other. That is the key, and I look for honesty. If you're not honest, I'm not doing it. You have to be honest with each other, because when you're honest, that's how you get the things out that need to come out. You know, if you lie about your feelings, if you lie about what you've done or what you've said or what you've left out, that's going to be a problem. Even if it's not a problem at that moment, it's going to be a problem eventually. And you want to overcome those barriers, so you have to learn how to be honest with your partner. If you ain't honest with nobody else, it definitely should be your partner. Check body language. Check your body language. If you come in there talking to your spouse and then you got your finger all in their face and you just doing all this and that, like, that's how you think that conversation is going to go. It's not going to go very well. Hold on. Yeah, that's not going to work out. If you come in yelling at your partner and cussing your partner, that was over before it got started. Felicia says, communication and honesty, most important to start any kind of relationships or friendships. Absolutely. Because you have to be able to believe what your partner is saying. You have to know that when they say, okay, I'm doing this or that, or I did this, you just know, okay, they did. You have no reason to think, oh, they lying, because your partner has been honest with you. So you have no reason to think that they're lying. So it's important to be honest, period. And if you are that person that has not been honest, it's time for you to start growing up and be honest. Maybe you don't go back and talk about the stuff that you was dishonest about, but moving forward, be honest. Let me see. I think I just talked about this. When you have a disagreement, when do you talk? Let me ask you guys. So when you have a disagreement with your partner, when do you talk? Do you wait a few days? Do you guys talk then? What is it for you? I used to be, while I'm waiting on comments to come in, I used to be a person who, I wanted to talk about it right now. And my husband, he wasn't that person. He would wait. But it could be weeks before we talk about it. And it was to the point, and this is the most unhealthy thing, which we both can agree now. It would take for us both to sit down and write a letter to each other, saying what we felt. We exchange the letters, we read them, and then we sit down and talk. But I'm telling y'all, it could be weeks before we actually talk. We walking past each other. The only time we talking is if it has something to do with the kids, because we had little babies, so that was the most unhealthy thing. I do not recommend it. The letter writing, maybe if it was the same day, or within the next couple of days. But them weeks, that was bad. All bad. I could never see myself doing that now, because I think that's leaving too much room for you guys to be angry with each other that amount of time. Like, you need to be trying to rein that in. 6 is listen, and we talked about, that being very important, that you are listening to your partner, and not just listening just to wait for them to finish talking. You want to listen, hear what they are saying, because I will say this, men have a hard time interpreting what we say, and sometimes men are honest with us about what they feel, but sometimes we are not accepting of what they say. We take it as, oh, they're coming at me, or really, did he say that? But that's what he meant. So what are you going to do about that? It's still what he felt. And so that's something that we as women have to work on. When they are honest about what it is that they were feeling or whatever, or how they feel at that moment, you better take that and receive that and process it. Hopefully it didn't come over in a rude way, like I was talking about the finger pointing and the body language or the tone. Check your tone. So Felicia on YouTube, I need to keep telling y'all this is on YouTube. Felicia on YouTube says one or the other may need a cool down period, but it should be within 24 hours. Yeah, for it to be a success, I think so too. I don't have anything else on Facebook's side. Okay, so then don't attack, like I just talked about. Like, don't come in with that negativity. Sit down and have a intelligent conversation. Learn how to talk. And if you're not good at communication, then let me tell y'all something. We have so many resources out here. We have YouTube. They teach you how to do everything. Sit down and learn how to communicate with people. Stop communicating in the way that you've been doing all your life and nobody checked you. But if somebody did it to you, you wouldn't like it. So make sure that you start learning how to check your tone and how you're talking to people. Because you talking to somebody in a really bad tone, they didn't hear anything you said because you was yelling. But if you sit down and you just talk to them calmly about what you are feeling, they're going to hear you. Be clear. Be clear with each other about how you really feel. That goes back to being honest. And that's just, there's nothing else to add to that. Just be clear about what you feel. Don't feel like you have to be fearful about them rejecting what you said. Be clear about it. See, this is what I've learned. Even if I'm angry with somebody and they're talking to me crazy, anything that I say to them in that conversation is going to be something that I know is going to stick. So I say things that I want them to remember when they get quiet and get to thinking about something that was said. It's going to stick. So it's not going to be negative, but it's going to be something that I felt that they needed to know. So let's learn how to communicate in a healthy manner. I know there are sometimes you might have to, you're communicating and it might get out of hand. Y'all should stop talking. Because when we get to the point of hollering, nobody hears anything. Except those negative things that come out, that sticks. And that hurts. So we have to learn how to stop hurting each other and just learn how to communicate effectively. Hey, Will, thanks for joining me, brother. Hey, LaBird, thanks for joining me. How you both doing? So we just finished discussing the barriers in a relationship and just how to overcome barriers. So now we're about to jump into distractions. So we can have a lot of distractions in a relationship. You have to okay, so when you first get in a relationship with someone, you're so excited, you're excited about what you guys are about to do, like where y'all going, just, everything about a relationship. You're excited about getting to know them to the point that you get distracted. You're not paying attention to anything. You almost forget the things that you said to yourself when you were single that you wanted in your next relationship because you're distracted. We have to not be distracted, guys. We have to be paying attention. Sometimes don't talk as much. Sometimes let the other person talk so that you really know what you're dealing with. Sometimes pay attention. Like we talked about body language, pay attention to these things. Pay attention. So the first thing with distractions is remember what it is you really want in that moment. What is it that you want? Or you're wanting a relationship that is committed. You want to be in a monogamous relationship. Or you're not wanting that. What? Have the conversation. Don't get distracted and not talk about it. That needs to be talked about. Because if they don't want what you want, you have to make sure you move on and not be caught up in that. Focus on intention. What's your intentions? What are their intentions? Take a step back and breathe, because sometimes you get so giddy, about this new relationship. And now you're not focused. You're not focused on those things that you told yourself at all now. So you want to make sure that you take, a step back and breathe. Take a step back and pay attention a little bit. Because, when we talked about, I don't know if any of you followed the series that I just finished up with manipulation. We talked about love bombing. where the person is constantly telling you, oh, you're so handsome, or you're so pretty, or you're so smart, you're so intelligent, yeah, okay, I know these things about myself, but that's not, there's more to it than that. Like, I'm not so caught up in the you fine thing, because it's a lot of fine men out here. I'm not caught up in that. I'm caught up in, who are you? What are you here for? Are you really here for the right reason? And just, who are you? But it's so easy to get distracted and forget everything, and you just going with the flow, which is nothing wrong with going with the flow, because even in your flow, you should still be paying attention and learning these different things. Recognize that it takes time to change the habit or the routine. With that statement, because we're talking about distraction in a relationship, sometimes our routines and our habits can distract us from what it is that we really need to see. So you're so used to doing one thing, and you're not paying attention to what is really going on over here. We have to learn how to pay attention and not be so distracted with ourselves. Because sometimes you get so distracted with you and what you're doing that you are not paying attention to what it is that you're trying to get into. You lose that. Please feel free to comment, guys. Add to. Set limits. Make sure you set limits. Hey, boundaries, guys. Set boundaries. And if this person has a problem with you having boundaries and you have set boundaries, then you know for a fact that that's not the person. And don't be afraid that this is not the right person. Don't be afraid, because you want the person in your life that's going to be right for you, not somebody that's not. You're wasting your time and theirs. So, and we'll probably do one on boundaries too, just a segment just focused on that. Because a lot of times we talk about having standards, setting boundaries, but then when the time comes, where are they? Sometimes people go with the flow and go with whatever that the other partner is doing because the fear of not having them. Be present, be in the moment. When I say be present, nowadays we got our electronic devices. So when you are out on these dates, a lot of times people on their phones, on social media or whatever, you're not paying attention, or you're in the house not paying attention, and you're missing things that you need to know and see. So distractions play such a big part in our lives, and it's so easy to get distracted. So if you've been that person, it's okay. Don't feel bad about that. We just work on getting better. So the last thing we're going to talk about, because we're really close to our 9 o'clock thing, is insecurities. Now, in the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about coming into a relationship wounded. A lot of times when you come into a relationship wounded, you come in with those insecurities. So let's talk about them. I have 6 that we're going to talk about really quick. So a lot of times people don't easily trust. They question everything. They don't trust because they're insecure, and it could be from something they've already been through, or it could go all the way back to childhood. But they bring those insecurities in and they don't trust. And it doesn't matter what the partner does, they will never trust them. The second thing is they struggle with intimacy. So they struggle with the feeling of being close sexually, or emotionally. And like I said, that's an insecurity. So it's something that has happened that has caused them to be that way. You become panicked very easily. So you panic that your partner is going to leave you. You panic that they're out there cheating on you and somebody else is getting their attention. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing comments. So there's a big panic of you thinking that they're not going to stay around. And this is the thing for me. Don't panic about that. Because if they're not going to stay around, they don't need to be around. Don't panic about that. But that's hard to tell somebody that has insecurities. They almost feel like they are not worthy. So, you know, we talked about having the low self-worth. Sometimes they don't feel like they are worthy of having a good partner. So they just always feel like somebody's going to take their partner from them. So they're in a constant panic every day. People live like this every day in their lives, and I just could never imagine that. And that is, for somebody that has been cheated on by their partner, that's PTSD. Because now you're like, okay, are they going where they said they were really going? But when they go there, is somebody going to be there? You know? Or MapQuest said it's going to take you 10 minutes. It was taking you 10 minutes to get home, but it took you 20 minutes. What was you doing with that other 10 minutes? You know, it's not funny, but it's real. It's real. A lot of people are feeling that because of the PTSD of being cheated on. Or maybe it was something they experienced in the relationship before. So, okay. You instantly feel criticized by your partner by what's asked of you. So it's like you create mountains over molehills. Like, you know, you make it more than what it is. Like they're just talking to you about something or trying to. But because of your insecurity, you have made it more than what it really is. And that's a barrier. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. So the fifth thing is, oh, you know what? I mixed that up, didn't I? The mountain over the molehill is the fighting. It's like the partner starts something and they make it more than what it really is. So, okay, let's say the one partner came and just said something to you, but you took it for more than what it really was, and now it's a big fight. You know, you created it to be something more than what it really was, and they were just really trying to ask a question. And again, that's a barrier because they can't communicate with you. So you pick fights with them, you know. The last one is you struggle when it comes to giving yourself permission to just be you. And it's a lot of that. And that comes with the low self-worth. So, as we talked about before with the low self-worth, you don't believe in yourself. You don't even think you're worthy to have anything good. And that can come from anything, from anywhere, any relationship, whether it was a relationship in your childhood with your parents. You know, it could have been a relationship you were in just coming up. You know, it could have been an adult relationship that it happened in. So, with that being said, let me, I think it was one I need to go back and redo because let me see. Okay, so you easily feel attacked, which that kind of ran together with the creating mountains over the molehills. So today's conversation, we talked about the insecurities, we talked about barriers in the relationship and how to overcome them. We talked about distractions. So I hope that you guys got something from this video. Hey Stephanie, thanks for logging on. If you didn't catch it, you can go back and look at the replay, on YouTube at Ms. Empower, or you can look at it on Facebook at Kim Empower. Are there any questions, any comments? I appreciate everybody for logging on with me tonight. Oh, I should have announced this earlier. Next week, the conversation will be about the importance of a father. So I want to say it might have been the end of June. I did the importance of a mother. If you want to check that out, that's on my YouTube page. We're going to do the same type of video, and it's going to be the importance of a father. So if you have any questions or any statements that you would like for me to include in that particular live that we do next Tuesday, please send that to me at msempower@gmail.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook at Kim Empower. I'm looking forward to having that conversation. I really hope to get as many men as possible to join that conversation. What I will say is this won't be a bashing segment. This will be the importance of a father. So, with that being said, guys, this has been a place for healthy conversations with Let's Talk About It Tuesday. And again, I am Ms. Empower. Look forward to talking with you guys on next Tuesday.